All right, it's 3 o'clock on the dot. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our HEI showcase for the week. I'm super excited to have Sarah here from University of New Hampshire, the Franklin Pierce School of Law, specifically the School of Law. So if you're here thinking about LLMs, whether you have a background in law or not, and you're thinking about exploring graduate programs at the in the new exploring graduate programs. Sarah is here to tell us all about the options available to you at the New Hampshire University of New Hampshire Franklin Pierce School of Law. So over to you, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me. Again, I'm Sarah Dorner. I am with the University of New Hampshire Franklin Pierce School of Law. We are New Hampshire's only law school and are accredited by the American Bar Association, located about 1 hour north of Boston, Massachusetts, for those of you who might not be familiar with New Hampshire. Um, I'm mindful of the fact that it's a challenging time right now for visas. So while I am going to share about our on-campus programs, I also want to make sure you're aware that we do have a number of different online and sort of hybrid options available too. So I'll mention those today, and then certainly at the end, I'll make sure to put my contact information in the chat so that you can reach out to me directly with any questions and to discuss the best plan for you. Um, as I mentioned, we're located in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is beautiful. It's ranked the number 2 state to live in the US, number 1 for safety. Just all 4 seasons, access to oceans and lakes and mountains. It's really just a beautiful place to be. Our law school is also walking distance we're located in the state capital of Concord and walking distance to the Main Street downtown area, which is really just a lovely kind of community center with shops and restaurants and independent movie theater and bookstore and performing arts venues. So just a really nice place to be. And they host a number of community events throughout the year and even kind of monthly First Friday events as the weather warms up. Our law school is really world renowned for intellectual property law. We were founded by inventors and entrepreneurs, and while we teach all areas of the law, IP has been one of our core specializations since we were founded over 50 years ago. Our library, we're very proud of our academic IP library, the largest in the Western Hemisphere, and one of only 3 global IP research facilities in the world. And our IP Mall is the oldest open access IP research site on the web. We really take a broad approach to intellectual property and what that means. So, while of course we're covering the areas of patents and copyrights and trademarks, we're also looking at issues related to data and privacy, health law and bioinnovation, AI, sports, entertainment, and media law, all of these different areas. Um, I'll share here very briefly, kind of just a sample of some of the classes that we offer, just to give you a sense of the depth and breadth of the different topics that are covered. The course list is updated every semester. So not all of these courses are offered every single year, but this just gives you a sense of some of the opportunities you would have. In addition to our kind of traditional classroom classes, we also offer opportunities for experiential learning and practice opportunities. So students have a chance to participate in what we call our legal clinics, where they take on real casework under the supervision of a licensed attorney. And so oftentimes we see our LLM students, our IP, and our commerce and technology students enrolling in our IP clinic or our International Technology Transfer Institute, where they really get an opportunity to gain experience, build their resume, work really closely with our faculty and build those relationships and grow their professional network in the process. In addition to the clinics, we also offer what we call immersive courses or kind of learn on location. These are typically offered for our graduate students in between the spring and or the fall and summer semesters, or fall and spring semester, excuse me. So kind of like a 1 week in January, we'll go off-site. This past year, students went to Las Vegas for a course at the UFC. That was our second time going there. We've done a couple of courses in Silicon Valley looking at IP issues faced by corporate America, and also a course in Hawaii that focused on IP entrepreneurship and indigenous community development. These type of courses are really possible through our partnership. So with different corporations and companies, or the World IP Organization. And so we work together to build out these classes and give our students these opportunities to learn outside of just our classroom, but to really get in the trenches, meet people who are doing the work, and have some more opportunities for networking as well. I am going to share here on this screen. I'm going to talk about the on-campus program. So we offer the LLM degree for students who already have a first professional degree in law from their home country. For students who do not have a first degree in law but have a bachelor's degree in another fields, we offer a master's degree that's specialized in IP. And then we also offer a short-term graduate certificate, which is a 1 semester program that allows you to gain some expert credentials in kind of formal education and IP. So for students who are coming in person with us, they would all be required to take a 2-part American legal process and analysis class, as well as a graduate legal research and information literacy course. From there, you get a list of electives, and you can see those here. You will choose at least 3 of these electives. And then after that, you really get to choose from our upper level JD offerings. All of our students are connected with an academic advisor, so they'll help you pick out your classes based on the degree requirements and your personal and professional goals. This list of electives is not the only classes you get to choose from. You just have to choose 3 from there, but then you have a chance to take a range of different classes, whether it's the clinic that I mentioned. Students who are preparing for a US bar exam might take classes like professional responsibility or privacy law or wills, trusts, and estates. So there's a range of different courses that you can choose from. On this next slide here, I'm going to give you an example of a student who graduated last May. So you could see exactly kind of how she mapped out her course schedule. She was a student who was considering sitting for US bar exam. So in planning her courses, she made sure that she was taking classes that would fulfill her LLM and intellectual property degree requirements, and also take the classes that would be required for the New York bar exam. And she noted here kind of which of those were the bar courses. For students who aren't able or don't want to come to the US, if they want to kind of stay home, stay in their job, and earn their degree online, we do also offer our IP program 100% online. The course requirements look a little bit different, but the degree itself is the same. The piece of paper, the diploma that you earn at the end, your certificate, is the exact same piece of paper. Here you'll see that you have some required courses, just like in the on-campus program, and then you have the chance to choose from either a patent practice track or a copyright and trademark track. This doesn't mean you're restricted to taking only classes in those areas, but it just kind of helps to focus your studies if you're interested in doing so. The benefit of the online program, while it's not a great fit for students who are interested in sitting for a bar exam or pursuing optional practical training, it's a great option for students who aren't able to relocate to the US for 1 year. You can pursue the degree on a full-time or a part-time schedule, and we do offer start dates in August and in January for the online program. The in-person program has an August start date only, but the online program does offer a start date in January as well. In addition to the IP program, we also offer an LLM or a master's and a graduate certificate in commerce and technology. This program is offered in person only, so there's no online option for this degree. This program is going to give you the chance to really look at issues facing new business and e-commerce and the global information age economy with a focus on digital and privacy law. In this program, rather than giving you a list of electives, there's three different kind of elective areas or different subject areas, and you'll work with an academic advisor to pick classes, at least one class from each of those areas. Examples might be IP management, business associations, international law, secure transactions. There's a range of different courses that you could choose. And I'll share with you here on this slide. This is our student Alan from Kenya, who's with us this year. And these are the classes that he's elected to take through the Commerce and Technology program. He is someone who's also, I think, considering sitting for a US bar exam. So he's got those bar courses in there as well. Our third specialization for our legal graduate programs is in international criminal law and justice. This program is offered online only, so there's no in-person option. This is a fully online program that you would do from home. This program looks at kind of fast-paced developments in the globalization of commerce, terrorism, human rights, and criminal law. We really draw from expert faculty, high-end practitioners in their area to teach these courses. It's a fairly prescribed curriculum, and you'll see some of the courses that we offer right there. Additional classes include courses such as human trafficking, international white-collar crime, and cybercrime. Similar to the online IP program, we offer August and January start dates and the opportunity to pursue the program on a part-time schedule so that you can balance kind of work and family commitments. I'll also mention our JD program. So we have a few different ways to approach this. So first, we offer the traditional 3-year JD program that US law schools is kind of their primary program. For students who have a first professional degree in law from their home country, we do have what we call an advanced standing JD program. So this allows students to kind of transfer in some of the credits from their bachelor's of law and earn their JD in 2 years instead of 3. That does require you, though, to be here in person for 2 years to earn that degree. And then another option that we have is what we call our hybrid JD. This allows students to earn the degree mostly online. They do need to come in person for set times throughout the year for what we call our in-person immersions, where they're learning in person with their cohort of students. This JD is specialized in 2 different areas. You can choose from IP, technology, and information law, and health and life sciences law. So those are kind of the different ways that you could approach earning the Juris Doctor, the first professional degree in law here in the US. A traditional 3-year program, a 2-year advanced standing, or our more flexible hybrid JD. Just a little bit about kind of life on campus here. It's incredibly hard not to get involved at our school. Students are joining multiple organizations. They're taking on leadership roles and a number of different organizations. I mentioned our student Alan earlier. He is an LLM governor on the Student Bar Association. He also is a part of the Black Law Student Association, the Health Law and Policy Society, our sports club. So he's in a range of different groups, and also, has at least one on-campus job as well. We welcome students from around the world in our program. Nepal, Colombia, Peru, Brazil, Nigeria. We've had students in recent years, Thailand, South Korea, Paraguay, the Philippines, really all over. And so we like to make sure that they get a chance to experience American culture. So we'll do things like go apple picking in the fall or pumpkin carving. We host a special Thanksgiving dinner for our international students. You'll see that we also take them snow tubing in the winter months and to an ice hockey game at our main University of New Hampshire campus in Durham. All of our students have access to academic advising that will help students plan their curriculum and pick their classes. They'll also be connected with a faculty mentor to offer some additional guidance on course planning and career guidance. And then we have what we call our academic success program. This program is going to make sure students have the skills they need to be successful in the US legal classroom. So they'll support students while they're here, and then they're also there to guide students in preparing for the bar exam. So they'll walk you through the application requirements and process and how to prepare for the bar exam. As I mentioned, the in-person LLM program is the best fit for students considering a U.S. bar exam, as are the JD programs. Our programs are not designed as just bar prep programs. They are specialized in the areas of IP and commerce and technology. But we have done our best to make the program flexible enough so that students can take the classes they need to be eligible for the bar exam. We can't always guarantee that there won't be some course conflicts, so we'll need to kind of work creatively with students, but we do our best to limit those. And we'll start working with students in the summer so that they are aware of different requirements for the bar exam if that's a goal of theirs. We have a really phenomenal career services team that really wants to work with students one-on-one to understand their personal and professional goals. They will help you build your resume. They'll help you craft cover letters. They'll practice interviewing with you. They'll teach you how to network effectively. And they're here to support you, whether your goal is try to pursue optional practical training after the degree ends, or to return home to work in your home country and kind of leverage your degree with us for career advancement. Mentioned optional practical training for our LLM students. Allows them to extend their student visa for up to 12 months to work in the US. And so we have, as I mentioned, our career services team will support students in the job search process. And our Office of International Students and Scholars will help students with the process to actually file for OPT. We can't guarantee placement. In the US, no one really just hands you a job, but we are going to work with you to make sure that you're out there. We'll help you try to find jobs that could be a good fit and help you apply for them. But it is on the student to go out and really apply for these jobs. In the past, we've had students that were really successful and have found great jobs through OPT, and many of them have remained in the US, but every student's story is a little bit different. For now, we've got our May 1st is the priority application deadline for our on-campus programs. We will accept applications until June 1st. I don't recommend that as you know, the visa process can really take some time. But there is that deadline coming up. And then for our online programs, we have a little bit later deadline. So July 1 is the priority deadline for students looking to begin their studies this August in either our online IP or online international criminal law and justice program. Fairly straightforward process. You can apply through the Law School Admissions Council or directly through our website. In either case, you will need 2 letters of recommendation, preferably professors or professional references, your resume, a personal statement speaking to your interest in the program and your goals, your academic records that also show proof of degree conferral, and then typically proof of English language proficiency, but for students from Nigeria, we do not require that. The cost for the in-person program is 44,000 US dollars. For the online programs, it's 1,500 per credit. We do offer a number of partial tuition scholarships. There are very, very few schools out there with full tuition scholarships. And if they do, it's typically for a very specific audience. So just be mindful of that. I get a lot of messages about full scholarships or GA and RA and TA positions. Those don't typically exist for LLM programs. If they do, they wouldn't be until like your second semester when you've built a relationship with the faculty. So they can't be built into your financial aid package. So it's really, some partial scholarships through the institution. Any other scholarships you're able to find outside of the institution, and then your own savings or sponsorship from family or employers. That said, in our online program, we're typically able to offer scholarships of up to 20% of the cost of tuition. In our in-person programs, the scholarship is typically closer to like 25 to 45% of the cost of tuition. So we do our very best to keep our tuition rates low and still be able to offer scholarship assistance. I'll mention just one last program that we're not offering this summer, but if you're planning ahead for next summer, we do offer a like 4-day IP Summer Institute. And next summer, the focus will be in sports law. So that's June 7th to June 10th. We're still building out the curriculum, but you can kind of get a sense here of some of the topics we've offered in the past. We do offer a discount rate for students from outside the US, and this is open to professionals and law graduates, law students. And for international participants, it's just $500 per class. Typically, when folks come, they take between 1 and 3 classes. And I'll leave up here on the screen my contact information. I'll make sure that I put my email in the chat as well, and certainly invite you to reach out with questions about the school or the application process. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to connect you with current students who can help as well. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It was really great listening to your presentation. I think we should have a number of questions. But also, if you have questions, please feel free to chime in. So my question is just speaking more broadly. You mentioned, one of the people who should be consider your institution was maybe people who don't have a background in the bachelor's degree in law. So I'm just curious for students who are coming from that background, what advice would you have for them in terms of how to strengthen their application or to submit a competitive application if they don't already have a background in law?
Yeah, so it's really only the LLM degree that requires a background in law. Otherwise, students would be applying to either our JD program or the master's program. And so there, what we're looking for, is going to be a strong academic background. So, we'll want to see your bachelor's, the grades from your bachelor's degree, and then just a personal statement that really speaks to your interest in pursuing a legal master's degree. Typically, this program draws professionals. It's not as common that we'll see students right from undergrad. It's students that are already in the field working and realize how much their job kind of is adjacent to the law. And so they want to get some formalized legal education. And so I think a personal statement that speaks to that can be great.
One of the requirements you mentioned was a TOEFL of 80 and the equivalent of IELTS. I'm just wondering, do you also accept the Duolingo or do you only accept TOEFL and IELTS?
We
And
do not
is
accept Duolingo. Yep, it's just TOEFL
oh,
and IELTS. But for students from Nigeria where English is spoken, we do not require either. Yep, so for students that come from an English-speaking country or where their degree was taught in English, that will waive the TOEFL IELTS requirement.
you also mentioned you require 2 recommendations. Are those recommendations, do they need to come from like an academic reference or can they be professional or workplace recommendations, especially for
So
people who don't have like maybe a law background?
yeah, yep. So they can be either or both. Ideally, for students that are kind of graduated within the last 5 years, we like to see one from a professor that can speak to their ability to be successful in the classroom, but we'll welcome professional references as well, especially for those who've had some work experience or even recent graduates from like an internship supervisor. So I think a good application is one that has a professor and a professional reference. Oftentimes, because our students tend to be a more mature audience, we'll see 2 professional references, and that's fine too.
Just checking because I know some of us have been out of school for like
Yeah.
10 plus years and
Yeah.
having to
Yeah.
dig
So
out those.
professional references is great. We know that it's going to be really hard to get back in touch with one of your professors.
All right, fantastic. You also mentioned some of the scholarship options that you have available, which is fantastic for LLMs and also like on law programs, generally speaking. So thank you to your school for offering that. But I'm just curious, are your scholarships stackable? I know there's a dean scholarship. I saw an alumni one there. There were quite a
Yeah.
number. Is it possible to stack like a number of them?
Yes, yep, and that's pretty typical is that a student will have two or three different scholarships. A typical award for students coming for the on-campus program is usually in the range of about 15 to 25,000 US dollars total, and then in the online program up to 20%.
I'm not sure which program you mentioned specifically, but you mentioned one of your online programs that you said people are not eligible to take the bar exam if they take it. I'm trying to remember which one that was specifically. And
Yeah, so we
then,
have the online, it's so the bar exam would only be relevant for students that are pursuing the LLM, so students who already have a background in the law. The online programs are typically not the best fit for that because many of the states require that you have taken your education in person, and there's certain classes that they also require that aren't built into our online program. So, even though California tends to be friendlier to online learning, they still look for specific courses that aren't a part of those. So, if their goal is to sit for a US bar exam, they would be best served by an in-person LLM or JD degree.
um, so my follow-up question was going to be like, if you know, is it possible for things for students to maybe say they want to take the online program now and then maybe in the future come and take like a certificate program or some other courses or classes and then be able to be eligible? Is that something that is possible or not really advisable?
It's a bit nuanced when it comes to the bar exam, and so I would definitely encourage them to talk with our academic success program who could advise on that. In terms of kind of moving between the modalities, we've certainly worked with students in the past who started online and decided that they wanted to finish up their degree requirements in person, or vice versa. And so it can be a little bit just the logistics can be a little bit tricky, but we're definitely willing to work with students on that.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. Just we have a question here from Perpetua, who is thanks, Sarah, for the AGD program. Our applicants mandated to take LSAT or GRE. Also, beyond the New York bar, does VNH actively help students plan for the California bar or other jurisdictions through course selection and advising? Thank you, Perpetua, for that question.
Yeah, so we would have you connect with our academic success program. Typically, what we do is in the spring, early summer, for students who are enrolling, I share with them a slide deck that our academic success program team has prepared related to the bar exam and what states might be a good fit based on our program, and kind of what you need to be considering. From there, you're able to connect with that team directly to ask some questions. They're also part of our international student orientation that happens before classes begin in August. So you'll have a chance to hear from them again, and then work with them one-on-one on your goals, if you are looking to apply to sit for US bar exam. If you want to email me directly, and I put my email in the chat, so hopefully you can see that there. Please do, and I would be happy to kind of share some additional information. I can send along that slide deck for you even, and then kind of provide guidance from there.
Awesome. It was just very interesting listening to you talking about like artificial intelligence and intellectual property law. And I think that's been so going to become like really popular in the coming years. I think was it on Saturday, there was the case of someone who was pled guilty to creating fake music with AI and doing billions of views on streaming services. And so that was just a very interesting case that came out recently. And I'm just like, with AI, I think we're going to have a lot more of those
I
sort of
think so,
cases.
and it touches all areas of our lives. So, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let's see if there are any more questions. Please, we have like a minute left. So if you have any last minute questions that you want to ask, please drop those questions. Okay, let's see. All right, could you just talk a little bit, maybe just about New Hampshire area and what makes it ideal for students who want to
Yeah.
come study?
That's one of my favorite things to talk about because I love New Hampshire. I think so. We are just over an hour from Boston, Massachusetts, kind of a big major city, but we are, and while Concord is a city, it's really a town. It's a more kind of community feel. It's quiet. So what we hear from our students is that there's fewer distractions, that they're able to really focus on their time at the law school, build relationships here, focus on their studies, be a part of the Concord community, but they can still get to Boston if they want to. New York is about a 4 to 5 hour bus ride. Montreal about a 3 hour drive. So there's still options to kind of get out and explore. But that New Hampshire is just really a lovely place. We're surrounded by nature. So I hear from a lot of students that they just love the opportunity to just be able to get out for a walk. We're located right next door to a park, which you can kind of see in the picture behind me. And in the winter, there's ice skating at the park and sledding. In the summer, there's like a little splash pad and a soccer field and basketball court. And so it's just a lovely place to be. There's a wonderful trail network. And then, as I mentioned, the downtown area, that there's just a lot going on downtown and community events. They host a multicultural festival every year. They host what we call Midnight Merriment, where around Christmas time, the shops all stay open late with special deals. At Halloween time, all of the businesses on Main Street give out candy to the trick-or-treaters. So it's just a really nice community. But students are able to really focus on their studies with few distractions, but amazing access to nature.
So for students who want to maybe explore the online options or the hybrid options available, what advice or recommendations do you have for them to feel more connected to the community that you just described?
Yeah, so for our hybrid AD program, and that goes through kind of a different admissions team, and I'm happy to kind of connect folks if that's of interest. But that program, because you're still coming in person, we find that those students are really forming incredible bonds with one another. They're oftentimes working professionals, so they're also growing their professional network. They're forming friendships, but growing their professional network in the process. And these students have really found a way they're kind of in it together, going through it. And so they've really created some close bonds. We've seen a couple of marriages and babies come out of that program already. So I can't promise that for everyone, but we find that just by those times when they're in person are really intense because you're together the whole day. There's social events in the evening, and so they're really forming some close relationships that way, and just as much as part of the community. A lot of the events that we host on campus, kind of special guest speakers, will have a virtual option so that students who aren't on campus are able to participate as well.
All right. And then for those who maybe, like I said, and for those, like, what's your advice? Like I said, because I feel like one of the drawbacks or that people feel about like online learning is like you maybe feel like isolated and
Mhm.
disconnected. So do you have any recommendations for people to feel like they are a part of University of New Hampshire, even though they're doing their program online?
Yeah, that's a really thoughtful question. I think engaging in the discussions, most of the classes will ask you to kind of, engage in the discussion boards and be a part of the conversation. So I think that's one way. Many professors will host weekly office hours. And so I would encourage you to attend those, get to know your professors. If you can't make that time, they will be happy to work with you to find a mutually convenient time if you want to set up like a one-to-one. Connecting with, I mentioned, our academic success program. They're there for our online students as well. Reaching out to schedule appointments with the Office of Career and Academic Advising to get some career counseling. They are there for you. They're not going to track you down, right? It's on you to kind of take that initiative. So I encourage students to really take that initiative and get to know the staff and faculty to really feel a part of the community here. And then
Awesome.
our commencement, our graduation is open to all of our students, whether they're in person or online. And so we love to see our online students come and be a part of that special day.
Awesome. That's fantastic. All right. Thank you so much, Sarah, for taking the time. And also, thank you so much for your flexibility and working with this new timing for our session. I know we had some last minute cancel due to the holiday last week. So thank you so much for your flexibility. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining our session today. I hope you learned one or two things from this session. Again, Sarah has shared her contact information in the chat. So then please reach out to them. Another great way too is to follow them on social media to get a great sense of the university, the field, and also get more information about the programs and options that are available at the institution. Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you so much to our participants for joining us this afternoon. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and morning, Sarah.
Yeah, thanks so much for the opportunity. It was great to connect.